Hello, everyone, and welcome to another unstoppable conversation. And I have Trina in the house today, and I'm so excited that you're here, Trina.
Thank you so much, Dr. LaDonna. Thrilled to be diving in with you today.
Awesome. So here we go. Tell me a little bit about Trina, your business, and how do you help others?
Absolutely. Well, I own a branding agency called Left Right Labs. And when you hear those words, you hear branding agency, you think, okay, that's all just going to be about visuals. But I really want people to understand that that's like 10% of your business. What I'm really here to do is to help thought leaders get clear on where their business is going, get noticed by their elevated audience, and continue to get paid what they're worth, even when they're doing higher ticket products and scaling their business higher and higher. So it's really about helping people own who they are today, not who they were 10 years ago. And that is what we love to do at Left Right Labs.
That is awesome. So when someone comes to you, what do you think probably the very first thing is that you do with your newer client?
I would say it's really helping people understand, first of all, how their brand fits together as a whole. I think we work with so many thought leaders and experts, and day to day, you're keeping up with what you're saying from stage, or you're keeping up with what you're saying from social media, because these are the things that we interact with daily, right? But what happens is people can forget along the way that at the end of that social media post or at the end of that talk that you're giving your audience an opportunity to connect with you, to take a next step. But how often are you actually going back and looking at your website where you're sending them, or the landing pages that they're interacting with, or really thinking about the strategy of where you're leading them to? And so I think the first step is really just helping our clients remember all the different touch points that they have with their audience. And then again, getting them all to be updated with where they are today and the direction that their business is going. So it's really about them diving deep and getting clear. And that is always the first step that we dig into with our clients.
And I believe when I work with clients, and I'm not a branding expert, but when I work with my clients, they think they're coming in with clarity, but most of the time they're really not, or they're not digging deep enough into what is it that clearly that they want, clearly what they do and how they do it, when they do it. They don't get it. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because it's so definitely true. And really, what can you do until you get that clear?
Yeah. Well, and with my agency in particular, we're known as rebrand strategists. So our specialty is really helping people who are facing a pivot. They've been around at least 8 to 10 years. Some of our clients have been around 30 plus years, right? So many things change in your business. So while you as the visionary and the founder, you might be clear on where you're going, how often have you actually gotten that all out of your head, unpacked in a way that your team can actually jump on board, dive in, really understand where the business is going, and all of you can actually row in the same direction? It's very rare that all of those pieces have actually been done. And even that you're looking at your business model through a lens of where we're going now, to the point that maybe you're getting rid of old offers that you don't want to have anymore, or you're looking to create new ones, but you aren't thinking about, is that going to be confusing with the old things that I have? So a lot of times it's even just like permission to let go of things. And I think that is a really common theme with our clients, especially when you're used to running it all and juggling so many things. Sometimes you just need that permission to let go. And that's really what brings clarity.
Yes. And there's something that so many times with branding, people think, oh, it's just the colors that, my favorite colors. The colors that I want to use for my business. But Trina, it's so much more than just the colors that you're going to use and what you're going to call your website.
100%. I have this saying that people connect with people, not color palettes.
Yes.
Like they want to know about you. Who on earth are you? Who is your team? What is your business? Why do you do what you do? Why should people care? And these are questions that maybe we've thought about very before, but felt like very quickly, or we're kind of giving a very pat answer. But we have this process that helps people dive deep, like really into why is this important today? What is the thing that sparked this? What makes you get out of bed every day and look forward to what you're doing? Because I don't know about you, I've had my agency for 20 years. Honey, there are days where I don't want to get out of bed. So exactly. I better wake up and go, oh, how can I reconnect to that elevated audience that I'm serving today? How can I reconnect to what fires me up and gets me excited? How can I think about the new ways I'm going to get in front of people that are actually energizing instead of just, going through the motions? And so, your brand and your color palette and your fonts, that's part of it. But again, that's like 10%. I want you to know you. Like, what do you love today? And then who is the audience that needs what you love? And that's the other thing that I think people feel like they know who their ideal client is. But I want you to think, especially if you've been in business for several years, that is going to change throughout the years. You've evolved, right? Dr. LaDonna, like you've been around, you've done so many incredible things. So your elevated audience, who you want to serve today, is different than who you served 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
so I've been doing this 40 plus years. Mm-hmm. And I just by hearing you talk, I'm visioning in my mind all the changes that I've taken. That doesn't mean I failed.
No.
Things change.
Yeah.
Life changes. My family changes. So then my business must change to circle around my family, because for me, family is first.
100%.
I love my business, but family is first.
Yeah.
So I evolve my business around my family.
Yeah. And change is part of growth. So that, like you said, that's not something to be ashamed of. Absolutely not. If you're not changing, then there's a problem. Like if you've been sitting still for too long, that's when things get dusty, right? So it really is that it's not change for change's sake, but when you know that it is change that is helping you move closer to something you're passionate about, or to having a greater impact, or things in the world change so quickly. We have to be willing to say, okay, who am I now and how do I communicate that best?
Love it. Love it. There's something you said about getting up. I have a saying, get up, dress up, and go do something.
Yes.
And I mean, go do something. And, I think a lot of people, not everyone, and we all have days where, like you said, we don't want to get up. We don't want to do our hair. We don't want to dress up. Well, guess what? You have to get up and dress up from the waist up. We've gotten a little lazy because most of us work our offices at home.
Right.
So gotten a little lazy.
Right.
And to be honest with you, Trina, there's many days I have my pajama pants on, but I have a nice top, my hair's done, makeup's on.
Yes.
I have the dressed up part, even when I don't feel good, even when I don't want to get out of bed. And even if you just go do one thing is better than no thing.
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is. In business, I believe you must do something in business every day. We all need our days off, but even in my days off, there's something. I'll return a message.
Yeah.
Answer a question. I will do something, even though it's my day off, just because you got to keep the wheels moving. And I think that's part of branding, is keeping the wheels moving on where you're going.
Yeah. Well, and I think especially as visionaries and thought leaders, I mean, it's hard for us to turn that off anyway. It's like, well, we are always thinking about something, but with keeping the wheels moving, that really makes me think about, a lot of times I get questions from clients or potential clients about, like, how often should I be updating my brand, or what does that look like? I would really say, I want you guys to think about your content, especially has to be updating as you go, and the strategy behind your brand voice and making sure it's communicated, that has to be updated even more frequently than your visuals. So I would say that at least every 3 years, the content on your website should be updated, if not more often than that. And visually, it's usually 3 to 5 years. Like, think of how quickly clothing styles change and decor styles, and like whether it's in home or whether it's, in fashion, like you just look at how quickly the world around us is changing. And so, really making sure that, do we have a strategy behind the way we are even creating the visuals for our brand? And will it have some of that longevity with us? Can it last 3 to 5 years? Because it's not meant to look like everybody else's, and it doesn't just fit this one popular theme, right? And so, yeah, I think that fits in too, even with that thought process of what are we thinking of every day and how do we communicate that? So I think that's a really good tip for keeping things fresh and exciting for your audience even.
Yes, I love that. And in your conversation, you're giving a lot of information for people to listen to and really focus on and think about, because, until you said 3 to 5 years, I didn't realize that that's the time frame, because it seems like for me, obviously not being a branding strategist, is that there's always something I'm changing every year. It may be just a little bit to my branding, but I'm always changing. It's like having a child, and as they grow, they're making those changes. And that's how I see branding. It's always changing. And especially nowadays when we have all the AI stuff.
Right.
AI it's making us change, like it or not.
Yes. Well, and I think there's ways to be really smart with the way you're using AI, that you're doing it in a way that is, like you said, not just AI for AI's sake, but how can you train your AI even like a brand strategist?
Yes.
We have this process that we take our clients through where we're helping train it on not just here's the top 5 things you need to know about my brand, but what is my actual brand personality? Like, what do I want to stand for? How do I want people to interact with me? What are my brand archetypes? That's really diving into like the psychology behind your brand, and not just how you want to be seen, but how does your audience want to engage with you? Like, we have to really think about that, and we have to train our AI on that too. Otherwise, it's just putting out the most generic, highest search for content. And so it's really like diving into the nuance, which is so much fun anyway. It's like this beautiful dance that you get to do to really uncover, who am I today? What is that advantage that I bring to the table as I'm elevating? And how do I communicate that, and training your AI on that. And I would say, when you're talking about like changes happening in your brand more often, that should absolutely, as I mentioned, be happening in your messaging. Like you might take the same concept that you've been teaching for 20 some odd years, but you're going to put it through a new lens. You're going to find new stories and ways of communicating that with your audience. You might find new ways to visually update your social media that still plays in the same realm of your brand, but feels like something new and fresh. So there's always those little nuanced pieces that we can absolutely keep up with on the day to day, without having to overhaul the entire structure, which is, thank God. We don't have to always do the whole big rebrand, right?
Well, it's just like this morning, I'm speaking at an event in a couple of weeks, and they asked me for a 250-word bio.
Yes.
Now, just last year, I would have been sitting here rewriting my bio, taking probably 2 to 3 hours to get it just perfect for 250 words. I mean, we've all done that.
Oh, yeah.
We've all done that. And that's part of your branding, is getting that bio the way you want people to see you. And I just put it into my AI. I need a 250-word bio about me.
Yeah.
And within seconds, Trina.
Yeah.
And it was exactly me. When I read it, I thought, well, I mean, I had to tweak it a little bit.
Of course.
But it knew me. Yeah. It knows me now. Me and Albert, we work together, close together each and every day. That's what I call my AI is Albert.
Mine is Percy.
I don't know why Albert. I guess because Albert sounds so smart, but it just. But we've worked together so long now.
Yeah.
And when I say so long, probably in the last 2 years when AI has really exploded.
Yes.
I use it every day, all day long, for different things.
And I think that's so natural for those of us who are in marketing or in branding, that we are constantly feeding it new information and keeping it up to date. But I will say that is definitely, even for our biggest name clients, that is definitely the thing that our clients aren't doing as frequently. Because again, if you're the thought leader in a different industry, you specialize in your specialty, whether it's health or finance or, you're a lawyer, whatever that is, like you have to keep up with the day-to-day of what's happening in your industry. But if you're not teaching your AI that, and you're not training your AI on your own thought processes behind why you stand for what you stand for, then it's not going to be able to get you that 250 word output that actually sounds like you, right? Exactly. So I think we have a little advantage because we are using it every day. So we're naturally training it. But I think it's so important that, as thought leaders and industry leaders, that we take the time to do that, or that we have a team member that's dedicated to doing that. And I will also say, I really recommend that all the information that you train your AI on is not just in your AI. Also make sure that you have outputs that are saved in a Google Doc or a repository or something like that elsewhere, because I don't know if you've noticed, how many AI are there out there? Like how many training engines, right? There's ChatGPT, there's Claude, there's, all Opus, there's all these different things. And one thing that we see a lot of people doing is, ChatGPT was the first one. So they've put everything that they've had into that, but they don't have it anywhere else. So when they're shifting and that technology shifting, they don't have something to go back to. So, one of the things we do with our clients is really creating like this brand Bible, this playbook that you can upload to any AI, regardless of which one it is. And instantly it's up to date and it knows where you're at. And so, I think that's definitely something that we can all remember to do day to day. And thankfully, my business partner, Gretchen, who's the left brain of Left Right Labs, she's really good at doing that, because I'm the right brain, honey. I'm moving too fast. I would have forgot already. So getting those people in your team.
It goes back to when you said put it in a Google Doc, or I put everything in a Google Doc.
Yes, yeah.
Because Albert sometimes loses his mind.
100%. He's hallucinating.
I'm like, where did you come up with that? That is nothing what we've been doing all day long. We've been doing almost the same things, just in a different way. And all of a sudden you have us on a beach,
when we live in the middle of Texas.
Where have you been? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But I can always go back to my Google Doc and grab something to remind Albert where we're at, what we're doing. I didn't have a 250 word bio saved in my Google Doc, like the Bible. So now I do.
Yes.
That was, 500 word I have, or 500 characters, 3,000 characters. I had all that, but not that specific 250 word.
Yeah.
Now I have it stuck over here in my Google Doc, and now I can just grab it anytime I need it. But that is all part of branding.
It absolutely is. And those are the pieces that people don't think about. It's all those little nuanced items that really make all the difference in the world.
So, Trina, let me ask you, or go back just a little bit, is that people don't understand branding is not just your business. It's also you as a person.
Yes.
And I always try to give people hints about watch what you put on social media.
Yes,
because 100%. It will come back and bite you on the arm. It will. So be very careful. Don't talk about things that is going to become an argument, because it's not worth it to you or your business.
Yeah.
And people don't understand. They'll say, well, that's my personal life. Well, if you have your business life on social media and you have your personal life on social media, they need to represent the same kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it has to align with, this is where we really lean into what we call brand archetypes, which are kind of like big recognizable personality types behind a brand. So when we think of a sage, which is one brand archetype, a real easy way to think of what that is like a Yoda, right? We see brand archetypes in writing, in movie, and theater, like they're so common. So once you can identify kind of what are my core brand personality types that I want to represent, We always recommend our clients have two, and there's a certain mixture that we put together. But if I am the sage and I'm a magician, and a magician is all about the transformation and the reveal, then that means those are the ways that I can talk about things, whether it's in my personal brand or in my business brand. Now, if you're a rebel archetype, then you can start all the verbal tussles you want. But you just better be ready to deal with that. But absolutely, people are so savvy now. And we see social media is just, we're inundated with it everywhere. So if we are talking, they are going to find it. So it absolutely should reflect. And you can still post about certain things in your personal feed that you don't post about in your business feed, but you do have to be aware that people are going to correlate the two, whether you want them to or not. So, it is like, it's a responsibility, honestly, to make them align. And just make sure, like you said, if there are certain conversations you want to keep private that you don't want people tying to your business, then you better have those conversations in person. Because if it's online, people are going to find it.
Absolutely. And people pay attention. I have 2 daughters. They're adults, but they've told me in the past, Mom, when we hire someone, we go and scout out their social media. Yes. We want to see what kind of person they are, because it is a reflection on a business of any type when you bring another person in. If it's your own business or if it's a corporation, it doesn't matter. It is a piece of that puzzle.
Yes.
Branding for yourself is so important.
Yes,
and
that personal
people
brand
don't always see it that way.
Yeah, it means a lot. And we have clients that, again, some of them have had their businesses for 15, 20 plus years. And so they have this really big, broad, robust business brand, but they haven't had the time to build out a personal brand. So we have all kinds of clients that we've built their business brands for years over here. And now they're coming back and saying, oh my gosh, the industry is changing. Now I need a personal brand as well. And so it's like you can create that to be complementary. And it's also a great way when you have multiple interests as a person. And maybe let's say you're shifting out of your business. A lot of our clients they're looking to sell the business that they have and to do something different. This is that great middle ground to play in, because then you can say, well, this is my personal brand, so I can show you all my interests. So it'll link off to my other business over here. It'll link off to what new interests are here. Or if I want to become a speaker in a new industry, I can focus on that over here. So it's a great way to kind of let people see the multiple facets of who you are. And so I would definitely say, if you have an existing business brand and you don't have a personal brand and you want like flexibility for your future, that's really something to consider. Even if it's just a one-page website, one place where people can come and just see the overview, that is a really, really good way to, without having to invest a ton of money or a ton of time, to really just start laying the groundwork for your future. If you know, hey, maybe I'm wanting to have a shift down the road, and it just gives you that room to start letting people think about it without it being the main thing. So it's like this little soft launch almost of where you might shift to down the road.
It's like having another limb on your tree.
100%.
You have your trunk, it's big, it's strong, and then you have all of these limbs coming out with all these beautiful leaves, but you are one of those limbs.
Yes.
You are part of those leaves growing. And this is a beautiful ending to this conversation, Trina. I'm so glad that we had this conversation. I would like to ask you, where can people find you? Where is the best place?
Yes. Well, going to our website, leftrightlabs.com, is a great way to find us. We're on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all the places. If you want a lot more learning, you go to YouTube. But we do also have an opportunity, if people want to understand more about their brand and what is their advantage and how they can elevate, we do have a way that people can get that information. If people want to go to leftrightlabs.com/advantage, this is going to do a total overview of your brand. It's going to tell you what's working well in your content, in your visuals. It's going to tell you where there's opportunities in your website. Like, what are the things that you could do to put your best foot forward and to really think of it incrementally. So I highly encourage you, leftrightlabs.com/advantage, and really figure out what's that way you can elevate your brand and put that advantage in front of every channel that you have.
Awesome. I love it. I love that. Thank you so much, Trina. Yes. And look her up. Go to the website, fill out the form, do your homework, and get to know who Trina is and how she can help you.
Thank you so much, Dr. LaDonna.
Thank you, Trina. And until next time, guys, on Unstoppable Conversations, have a beautiful rest of your day.